Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time today to join us for today's webinar covering payroll for construction and our payroll options for your QuickBooks users, your QuickBooks clients there. My name is Alex Gray, one of the regional sales managers here at Payroll for Construction. We'll get today's webinar here started in a moment. We still have some that looks like they're joining the session here today. So just wanted to come on here. Thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to join us for today's presentation. I'll be back with everyone here in a moment and we'll get things started off for today's presentation. Thank you. All right, looks like we had a few others join us here, so we'll go ahead and get things started today. So again, thank you everyone for taking the time today to join us for today's webinar covering payroll options for your QuickBooks users, hosted by Payroll for Construction. Again, my name here, Alex Gray, one of the regional sales managers here at Payroll for Construction. I'll be guiding you guys through an overview of our payroll services today, how we can integrate with the QuickBooks system, and with us being construction specific, assist with those that have construction specific payroll, as we know how messy those can get, especially when we have union, prevailing wage, multi-state. So we'll cover our payroll service here today and how we can help simplify the payroll process for those that are using QuickBooks, those desktop and online versions there. With today's webinar presentation, those in the audience, this is a listen only webinar presentation. You will notice on your sidebar, you do have a questions portion. Feel free as I go along today. Any questions come up, throw those in the questions box. Some of them might get answered naturally as I go through the presentation here today, but I will have some time set aside at the end to answer any questions from those in the audience. As well as today's webinar, we are offering CPE credits for those that are in the audience today. As we go along, there will be 3 separate polling questions that I will provide based on the material that I'll be presenting in regards to the payroll services. To receive those credits, please go ahead and answer those questions in the polls, and then our team will be in touch with that information after today's presentation. But again, thank you everyone for your time here today, and we'll go ahead and get things started here. So with us, who we are, what we do, meet Payroll for Construction. Well, first I'll bring up my information here. As I go along today, anyone who does want to set up time to discuss our payroll services in more detail, my phone number, my email, feel free to shoot me a call, shoot me an email here. Happy to help at any point in time, whether you just have a few questions or you do want to set up time to discuss. Happy to be a resource here for those of you in the audience today. But again, we'll jump into it. So who we are, what we do, meet Payroll for Construction. We are going to be an online payroll service provider just working in the construction industry here, more specifically union, prevailing wage, multi-state contractors that have a messy payroll. We can have a number of pay rates, states, unions, benefits that we need to track all in one week here. And hey, Sometimes with a generic payroll service provider, it's not going to be as simple as entering that information in. With our team, we're only working with the construction industry here and have our payroll service software set up to be able to handle those complex construction payroll runs. And with us, we're processing payroll in all 50 states. We have clients located in all 50 of the US states here. Doesn't matter if those clients are working in one state, working in multiple states here. Our payroll service and the software be able to handle the calculations as well as then the filing and payments, with us being the provider here at Payroll for Construction. As well as too, one thing that does separate us from other providers out there is we are powered behind the scenes by a full job cost ERP accounting software known as Foundation. Foundation themselves have over 35 years of experience in the construction industry. Foundation was founded back in 1984. But in 2006, the team here realized that, hey, not everyone needs the full power of the accounting system here. One of the great parts about it that we're going to cover today is the powerful payroll module, along with the job costing module. So what we did for the payroll service was we pulled out that payroll module, the job costing, parts of the general ledger from that accounting system, and created today what is known as Payroll for Construction. We're going to be a full third-party payroll service provider. So we're going to be able to pay the employees via check or direct deposit, handle all tax filings and payments as that payroll provider here, can handle the weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual tax filings and payments, can handle any federal, state, local authorities, FUTA and SUTA, as well as the filing and distribution of employee W-2s come year end. Here at Payroll for Construction, for those clients that don't go live with us in the first of the year, they'll take all payroll history, what's been done so far this year during the implementation process of Payroll for Construction. We'll take that payroll history, get it up to date inside of the payroll service. As take clients live the first of any month moving forward, we'll make it as if you went live with us in the first of the year. So employees then will only receive one W-2 from Payroll for Construction come year end. For those W-2s, we can mail them to the office for distribution or to the individual employee addresses there. Then along with us being that payroll service provider, the paying of the employees, handling the tax filings and payments, year-end W-2s, we're also going to be able to automate reports like job costing, union reporting, certified payroll. We're going to have print and electronic formats available for those certified payroll reports that will be generated directly inside of your payroll system here. No external portals that you're jumping into. All of that reporting is available for you with a click of a button inside of your database. All of the reports here are free, included as a Payroll for Construction client, as well as to the last one on my list here, EEO, minority compliance reporting. Going to be the same with those reports as well. Going to have print and electronic formats available, have federal, state, city-specific formats available. And again, all of the reporting here is included as a Payroll for Construction client. Will all be automatically tracked inside your payroll system. When it comes time to access the report you need, you have full access at any point in time. Log into your system, put in the required date range that you need, generate that report, go ahead and pull it outside the system, send it off where it needs to go if we need to give a user that doesn't have access there. Moving along here, what we do, construction specific payroll here. So like I mentioned, going to be able to handle that multi-state payroll here. Doesn't matter if we're working to report into one state, working to report into multiple states here. Again, Payroll for Construction is handling the filing and payments for unlimited number of states in any payroll period there. Doesn't matter if we have 10, 15, 50 different states that we're reporting to. Payroll for Construction will be able to report to all 50 states here for those tax filings and payments as the payroll service provider. Then on top of that as well, be able to handle multi-locality payroll runs here. So if anyone in the audience here working in states like Ohio, Kentucky, we'll have multiple jurisdictions, multiple localities that our employees can fall under in 1 week here. Within the payroll system, I'll show you how on that job record, we can define exactly where that project is taking place with a corresponding taxing table. Whatever taxing tables we need for you or for your clients there will get loaded into that Payroll for Construction database. Our team's also managing the changing rules, regulations, so if tax rates are updated, we'll be updating those taxing tables for them as a Payroll for Construction client. and then as hours are coded against the corresponding project, be able to calculate, track, and then have us report to the corresponding jurisdiction. Again, doesn't matter how many states, how many localities we're working in that single pay period there. Also then within our system, we're going to be able to automate the pay rates for prevailing wage, union contracts, where on an employee record, I can go up and have Rick Stevens set up as he's making $15 an hour for us as a private commercial employee for us. But if we have prevailing wage work, or if we have union clients, union work, union employees here, we're going to have an above scale rate of pay, as well as a set track of fringe benefits, union benefits that we're going to need to track for these employees here. So our system is going to have separate pay rate tables that you or your clients can manage as a payroll for construction client, or we can manage for you, where you take the pay rates for that prevailing wage job or that union contract, send them over to our team. We'll have tables behind the scenes that can then be set up with those tables then tied to a specific job record. So inside of our system, a job is a job. Be able to track what state we're working in, and also then pull in the corresponding rates of pay based on what type of project this is and what classification our employee fell under in that project there. So at ways we're going to be able to handle those kind of messier portions of the construction payroll when we have multiple rates, benefits that we're going to need to track. Then going hand in hand, those fringing calculations. So union benefits, fringe calculations. We'll have a separate table from that pay rate where we're able to break out either that fringe calculation or that union benefit information, those fringes and deductions there. With those tables then, those are also tied to the job record. So based on how those need to be calculated, the rate they're calculated at, you can even control how those benefits are taxed, even set up limits to what's being exposed to that specific benefit. With these tables behind the scenes, we're going to automate those pay rates and the benefits calculations for that specific project. Then as those hours are being coded in, we'll track all the information for us, pull all of our fringing information into our certified payroll reports, as well as to be able to provide those union reports for us to pull when it comes time to make the payment there at the end of the month. As well as to also have another table if we have any clients there that have prevailing wage fringe reduction or a fringe credit, where we're already providing these employees a certain amount in these benefits here, where instead of then taking that fringe benefit and paying it on top of what we're already providing them, we can reduce that fringe down by what we're already offering. Have ways that we can automate these calculations, that fringe reduction, that credit inside of your payroll system. No longer need to potentially track this on some sort of Excel sheet outside of the system. You can bring that all inside of your payroll database, have that automatically calculated. Then the last one from my list here, workers' compensation. So with workers' compensation, one thing to keep in mind with payroll for construction is we do not handle any workers' compensation payments, but we do know how big of a part of the payroll process, job costing, tracking that workers' compensation policy is. So we'll take that policy, get that set up inside of your payroll system. You can have that broken out by the classes, the type of work that's being performed by our team, and can even then set up caps to what's ultimately being exposed to that workers' compensation policy. Then as hours are being coded into the payroll system, we're going to automatically track where we stand with workers' comp. Then we'll have a nice workers' compensation report that you or the client can run from a high-level class breakout. Or if we need more detail, we can then change how that report's being laid out, get down into an employee by employee, earn code by earn code basis to see where the actual dollar amounts were coming from for our individual team members there. All right, then going hand in hand with that construction specific payroll comes one of the biggest parts of construction payroll, that construction specific reporting. So all the reports that I'm going to go through today here in my list, as well as show you examples inside of the payroll database. Again, they are free and included as a payroll for construction client. Will all be available to you at any point in time to pull from your payroll system. If you use them, you use them. If you don't, you don't. On the first one from my list, those certified payroll reports here. So again, I'm going to have print and electronic certified payroll report formats available inside the system. With those print, you can have over 40 different options that we can choose from those certified payroll print formats. Whether you just need the generic US Department WH-347, that Department of Labor report format, or you need certain city, state-specific format. All of those are going to be available to you to pull from your payroll system with the required format that you need. And as well as our team is staying up to date with those report formats in the industry. So if something changes, our team's going to update that report format and also timestamp that change was made to that specific certified payroll print format. Then on the other side of those certified payroll reports, the electronic uploads, the online portals that we're starting to see the industry shift towards, having those electronic portals available online to upload the certified information. Instead of going into the online portal like the LCP tracker or the California DIR for my example and keying in all that individual information for our certified report, not going to be the case with payroll for construction. You'll access that certified payroll electronic link, select that format you need, you go ahead, put in the date range that you need your certified payroll report created for. Could be one job, multiple jobs, doesn't matter how many we need to bring in here. You generate the electronic link, you log into the online portal, you upload the link that was created to that certified report from Payroll for Construction, you click submit, your certified report has then been sent off. No manual entry of certified information with Payroll for Construction. Again, all being tracked, generated directly inside of that payroll database. No external companies, portals we're jumping into to pull our certified information there. Then the second one from the list here are union reporting. So my union contractors here, doesn't matter if you're working with one union, you're working with multiple unions, or maybe we have union crossover where we have guys that are part of Local 3, but for this project, this specific week, they're working maybe in another state under another jurisdiction where we're working under Local 6, Local 14. Doesn't matter how many unions we're working with, needing to report to, you can have those all tracked inside of your payroll database. Then based on those employees that had pay and benefit information under a specific union, have that union report that we can run whatever date range that we need. We'll break out all of our employees by their individual classes, as well as then give us an overall subtotal of where we stand with that union when it comes time to cut the check. Right, then the third one here, minority compliance EEO. So the same with those certified payroll reports, going to be print and electronic formats available for that minority EEO compliance reporting. Again, multiple formats, all available to you inside that payroll system. Along with these, going to have job labor and burden cost reports. So with payroll runs, I'm paying Rick $15 an hour, but once our burden, FICA, FUTA, SUTA, workers' comp, comes into play here, fringes, benefit information, rate's going to be more so $24, $25 an hour. We're going to have job costing and job labor burden reports that are going to take our employees' basic hours and earnings, but bring in all of our full burden calculations so we can see a true average hourly rate of what our employees are hitting us for when it comes to those payroll runs. I'll jump in today at the end of the presentation. I'll be providing some examples of these reports and show you one of our labor and burden cost reports that a lot of our clients do utilize here at Payroll for Construction. Then also on the list here, workers' compensation. I already mentioned you can have a workers' compensation report automatically calculated, generated for us with the date range you need, high-level class breakout. You can get down to an employee-by-employee basis. We need a full level of detail there. Then also 401k, health insurance. We have any miscellaneous deductions that we need to track for the team here. Also going to be able to set up any miscellaneous deductions, have that information automatically withheld, then have a report that shows us where we stand with those specific vendors there inside of our payroll system. Another thing to keep in mind with Payroll for Construction is we do not handle the passing of any 401k, HSA, health insurance information to those vendors, but we still will have those deductions set up, automatically withheld from the employee's pay, and have a nice report available that you can then send over to the vendor once it comes time to make the reporting of those amounts. Then the final one from this list here, child support and other garnishments. So an optional additional service we do provide here at Payroll for Construction is the ability to handle any court-ordered garnishments, child support, alimony, tax garnishments here. With those garnishments on the employee's record, have another portion that we can set up that garnishment information to be automatically withheld. then that is an optional service. If you or your client says, hey, currently have one garnishment here that I handle each week, takes me 5 minutes to do here, you can choose to keep the handling of those garnishments in-house. We'll still have the amounts automatically withheld, have a report available that provides the information for you to send off where it needs to go. Or if you wanted to outsource those garnishments to our team does have an optional garnishment handling service where once that amount is withheld, we'll send off the information where it needs to go as the payroll provider here. All right, so we'll continue along here. Then still at our core here, we're going to be that traditional payroll service provider here. So we're going to be able to pay the employee via check or direct deposit here. That direct deposit pay for the employees can be broken out across as many bank accounts as the employees may need for the breakout of that direct deposit pay, whether we want a fixed amount of percentage hitting the checking, the rest hitting the savings, vice versa, can be broken out across as many bank accounts as needed for the employees there. No additional charge for the breakout of direct deposit pay. Then for those that have any live checks, a few options to choose from the check delivery by our team. We can mail the checks from our office to your office to distribute to the employees, mail the checks from our office to the individual employee addresses. Or if anyone in the audience today has 2 employees here who just don't want to set up a bank account, they're still a little old school, they like receiving that live paper check. You don't want 2 checks going to the mail. After payroll is processed, you do have the option to just cut any checks that you need printed directly in-house outside of that database, so we don't have a small amount getting mailed out there each week. Then also, still going to be that payroll service provider, so we'll pay your taxes, the weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual tax filings and payments, quarterly and annual returns, as well as those W-2s and other year-end service options as the payroll provider here at Payroll for Construction. Then what else makes us different? So with us, going to have a direct integration with QuickBooks accounting and other accounting programs out there. With those that have those QuickBooks clients on the call here today, doesn't matter what version we're using, desktop or online version of QuickBooks, we'll have a QuickBooks integration tool where after payroll is processed inside Payroll for Construction here, the QuickBooks integration tool will be set up on whatever workstations that you need to access that tool. You go into the integration tool, enter your week's date range, run the integration tool. It will then take your payroll information, pass that back into QuickBooks broken out on a job-by-job basis. During implementation, our team will match out the job numbers, the payroll accounts that we need hit for that payroll information. Even though Payroll for Construction processed the payroll, that integration tool will essentially trick QuickBooks into thinking payroll was processed there and still ensure that the overall bottom line is intact inside of that accounting system. As again, even though we are built directly into that foundation accounting program, we know everyone's not using foundation for accounting, so we'll have that integration with QuickBooks. Then I'll show an example of the information that's passed into that QuickBooks system when we jump into the payroll system here in a moment. But then as well, we'll have other integrations with other accounting programs, Sage, Viewpoint, whatever other systems you or your clients may be utilizing there in the office, have multiple integrations with multiple accounting programs here. Then also, again, our only focus here is construction, if I haven't made that clear for those in the audience today. So we'll have staff of professionals that are experienced with construction payroll, only working with construction payroll issues, runs day in and day out. Our payroll tax and support team here is trained only in-house, only on our systems here at Payroll for Construction. Can walk down the hall of our office here, go meet with the support team, the tax team. If you were to have any issues, you can call in, log a ticket. You'll have a live support representative available to you to assist. Our support team is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unlimited free support included as a Payroll for Construction client here. Whether you're branching out into a new state, need some help getting those tax tables loaded into the system, making sure we're ready to take on that new state's payroll. Or maybe it's something as simple as, hey, haven't set up a new employee here in a while, just want to make sure this is correct. You'll have a live support representative available to assist. And again, that unlimited free support included as a Payroll for Construction client here. Then also, we do have a few mobile application options here for field time card entry. The first offering that we have here is our Field Log Mobile, was an application we developed here in-house about 12, 13 years ago now. But more recently, we did acquire another mobile application here at Foundation/Payroll for Construction, known as WorkMax. So do have two different mobile application offerings here. One being more of a simpler layout. Hey, we just kind of want to get our employees' hours recorded in the field, streamlined, brought into the payroll system there. And then also have that WorkMax system that's going to be a little bit more powerful mobile application, have a lot more customization, rules, settings that we're able to use in that more powerful mobile application. But as well as too, you'll notice the next point, we also do offer a time card import feature. So you do not need to use our mobile applications here to use a mobile app with Payroll for Construction. With us, we have a number of mobile applications out there that we are partners with that you can import into the system with that time card import feature and a one-time import sequence layout, some sort of Excel, CSV files pulled out of that mobile application that you can then import those hours directly into your payroll system. Then also here too, one of our newest offerings here at Foundation/Payroll for Construction is our new employee onboarding, employee self-service HR system known as HRHQ. So starting to see the industry switch more towards having the electronic onboarding, having electronic employee self-service centers, where with this HRHQ system, you can onboard employees directly through that HR product. After they complete their own onboarding portion, give us W-4 information, I-9 information, EEO, veteran status information. You can approve this as the employer side after the employee has completed. Then that employee is set directly up inside Payroll for Construction. So do now have a HR system, HR portal that we offer here at Payroll for Construction. As well as too with the payroll system, web-based access anytime, anywhere with an internet connection. Go ahead, log into your Payroll for Construction database. Some sort of PC, laptop, computer device will be needed to access your payroll system there. Then the final point here, we do also offer an online pay stub portal for the employees to retrieve those pay stubs electronically. With that HR system, employees could retrieve their pay stubs through HRHQ. But if those there aren't looking to kind of switch and implement a full HR employee self-service onboarding system, we do offer a separate online pay stub portal known as eAccess that the employees could go in and retrieve those pay stubs electronically if we're just looking for simple electronic pay stub access and not a full-blown HR product for the team. All right, then how a payroll is processed. You simply log in online, you enter or you import your time cards into your payroll system. Then what you'll do is you'll review your time card entries and your payroll calculations using our proofing reports, pre-check registers that are available after the hours have been submitted into the system. Then once everything looks good to go, you'll submit payroll with the click of a button, sends a copy of that database to our team for payroll processing. Within the hour, we'll have that payroll processed, give you a full report breakdown of what was handled by our team, total amount of checks, direct deposits, total tax liability that was handled in that week. All right, and then after payroll has been processed there, all the payroll information seamlessly flows into those payroll reports and available again for you guys to pull at any point in time outside of your Payroll for Construction database. All right, so my contact information here again. Right now, I'm going to pivot over into the payroll database here in a moment. But before we jump into the payroll system, I'm going to go ahead and launch our first poll question here. Again, those in the audience for those CPE credits, please go ahead and answer the poll question that I'll go ahead and launch here now. So with this poll question, how many states can Payroll for Construction process payroll in? Is it 1 state? Is it 10 states? Is it 50 states? Or is it 25 states here? All right, we'll take a quick pause here, give everyone in the audience some time to get these answered here. And again, the poll question here, how many states can payroll for construction process payroll in? Again, is it 1 state, 10 states, all 50 states, or only 25 states? Looks like we're waiting on one more answer here. All right, looks like everyone's answered here. I'll go ahead and close out. So looks like everyone got it correct. Again, payroll for construction can process payroll in all 50 US states here. So we'll go ahead and close out that poll here. All right, then we'll go ahead and jump into the payroll system here. So the screen that I had started sharing, it's going to be the home dashboard for payroll for construction here. So again, online, web internet-based access here. So some sort of computer, laptop, PC device, and an internet connection will be needed to log in to your payroll system here. Once you go ahead and log in with payroll for construction, during implementation, our team would start with a blank database copy that will build from the ground up to only house information that your team needs for your payroll runs. One of the first places our team starts inside payroll for construction and building that system is going to be inside payroll maintenance. Inside payroll maintenance is where we'll come in. We'll set up the current active employee records here. So our list of active employees, we have a team of data extraction specialists that can go into that current QuickBooks system, or maybe if we're working with an external payroll company, our employee information is housed elsewhere. We'll help with getting that data extracted out of our current system, then imported into your payroll for construction database. So we're not coming in manually keying in maybe 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 or more employees during implementation. We'll go ahead and get those current active employees loaded inside of your system here during implementation. I'll jump into the employee record here in a moment. Nothing too crazy when it comes to those employees, just some other items I'll show you on the employee record here today. Then the next portion here, that workers' compensation policy. So again, we'll get your workers' compensation policy set up inside of your payroll for construction system. That workers' compensation policy can be broken out by the types of work being performed, the classes. Again, all that information against workers' comp will be automatically tracked. Then have a report. I'll show you the high-level class breakout or get down again into that employee by employee, earn code by earn code basis there. But then also here on this screen is where you're then going to start seeing what differentiates us from other providers out here, that union prevailing wage tables. So my union prevailing wage contractors, you're going to see that on the employee record. I can set up that private commercial rate of pay here in a moment. But I mentioned we're going to have those separate pay rate tables as well as the benefit tables to track those union benefits, those deduction fringes, or for prevailing wage, our prevailing wage fringe, cash fringe here. Where I'll jump into the pay rate table. Again, as a payroll for construction client, your team will have access to manage these tables, whether they're union or the prevailing wage tables, or we can manage these for you as a payroll for construction user. During implementation, every union, every prevailing wage project that we already have here will get set up and preloaded inside the system. Then if you get any updates, you have a new table we need to add, send the information over to us. We'll be able to go ahead and have this set up. Once they are set up, just reach out and confirm that the information looks good to go for your team. If you have any questions, let us know. With these tables, again, we can manage them. And you'll also notice here that we'll timestamp these with an effective date. So if I'm working with Local 6 here, here's all my rates for the first of this year, then maybe either 6 months later or a year later, everything goes up by $1. We get that updated union contract here. Send that information over to our team as soon as you have it available here, as soon as you can. We'll go ahead, set up the new table inside your system. We'll timestamp it with the upcoming effective date. So no matter if that change occurs at the beginning of a payroll run, in the middle of a payroll run, the system will be able to look at that effective date and switch over all of our employees to the updated rate of pay. You're also going to see there will be an effective date on the benefits tables here as well. We'll also timestamp then that pay rate change on the employee stubs for them to review. No need to then go in and when there's a pay rate change, update 50, 60 employee records when that pay rate change occurs. They'll all be caught under these tables. And then you'll see, I'll show you, we can tie these tables directly to the job record. So again, a job is a job inside of our system here. We'll track the corresponding taxing information, as well as track all of our union pay rates, as well as to those prevailing wage contracts here. So we can name these tables. You want it based on an area, a job number. We can go ahead and manage these for you. And once those tables are set up, you tie them to a job record. Those rates of pay will be automatically tracked inside your payroll database here. Then again, unlimited number of tables inside Payroll for Construction here. I'll go ahead and close out of the pay rates. Then we'll next jump into those deduction fringes, those benefits tables here. So with these, again, it doesn't matter if all of our employees, all of our trades are being calculated at the same rate for those benefits on those projects, or I need to get down into a trade by trade, employee by employee basis for my union benefits, for my prevailing wage fringe calculation information. We can get down into the detail needed for the calculation of these benefits. For my example, for my electrician trades under Local 38 here, we'll take that union contract and we'll get this set up to say, hey, mark this, what this specific benefit is. Is it a deduction? Is it a fringe? We'll then also get that system loaded with how you'd want those benefit codes to be laid out specific for your team's needs here. Then we can control how each benefit needs to be calculated here. Hey, how does this benefit need to be calculated? Is it based on hours worked? Is it based on hours paid, where we could have the 0.5 calculation for overtime be subject to that benefit, or we don't need to bring in the 0.5 calculation for overtime for that benefit calculation here? Is it based on a percentage, a fixed amount here? Then mark the rate it's calculated at. You can even control how these benefits are taxed, can set up limits to what ultimately being exposed, and as well as to have that effective date as well that will be able to make any updates and timestamp if changes to those union contracts were to occur. Right here, you're looking at an example of my union benefit calculations here, but as well as to my prevailing wage contractors, the same thing here. Doesn't matter if all trades are being calculated at the same rate, or I need to get down into a trade by trade, employee by employee basis, we can absolutely do so. We'll then just take that fringing information, mark it as a fringe calculation. It doesn't matter if we're just paying these fringes as cash into the employees' paychecks here, or if anyone in the audience today has some sort of fringe benefit group that we're working with. We have some sort of bona fide fringe plan that we're providing for our team there. We can have this information automatically calculated and then also provide report examples for then you to send off to that fringe benefit group if we need that fringing information to be reported elsewhere, if this isn't something we're just paying as cash to the employees there. We'll go ahead and close out with these tables here. Then next, I'll jump into the employee record here real quick. So again, if those were, though anyone is interested in taking a look at our HR product, we do have an employee onboarding portal that employees can fill out their own onboarding information. The employers complete their own side. That information is then passed in, set up the employee record here. Again, during implementation, we'll get those employee records set up. And if you weren't using our HR system, you get a new employee, you come in, set them up inside of Payroll for Construction here. Then on the general tab for the employees, going to house basic employee information, name, address, social, contract licensing information if needed. As well as then our team will have defaults that we can set up to help streamline the overall payroll process for our team here. Then also too, as we make updates, make changes inside of that system, going to create an audit trail of what was going on for our team members here. Again, private commercial rate of pay is referenced on the employee's record here. If I were to come in, make an update to our employee's pay rate, or if we had any seasonal employees here, hey, as we get into the winter months, work slows down, have some employees will lay off, bring back once work picks back up here. I could also mark today's date as a date terminated. There's a little box here. You could track an L code for layoff, however you wanted to reference. You can use your system as complex or as simple as you want it to be set up here. If I then click the history tab for my employee, you'll notice it automatically created a pay rate history change for me. If I were to save, then tell me what user had made that change. Also would timestamp any pay rate changes on our employee stubs, as well as keep a track of the full employment history, what was going on with our team members here. And second tab on the employee record, going to house basic deductions, federal, state, any local withholdings we may need to set up for our team members here. Then also at the bottom, those miscellaneous deductions, any court-ordered garnishments, child support, alimony, tax garnishments, health insurance, 401k provider that we're working with. We'll set up all miscellaneous deductions that the team would need. And also as well, too, another example I do like to show is if we have any employees that we've given a loan here that we want to take back, you can set up a loan miscellaneous deduction earn code. Hey, maybe I gave Rick a $300 loan here. I want to take back $100 from the next 3 paychecks here. I could set up that fixed $100 miscellaneous deduction to be pulled from that paycheck. Then once it hits that limit, would automatically fall off of the employee's pay there. All right. Then direct deposit information, again, can be broken out across as many bank accounts as the employees may need here. Fixed amount, percentage, hitting the checkings, rest hitting the savings, vice versa. Can have this broken out across as many accounts as needed, as well as too, if anyone in the audience, clients, employees are being paid via pay cards, can have pay information be loaded onto those pay cards for the employees there as well. Then also to accruals, PTO, vacation, sick time tracking. Doesn't matter if we need to track one code, 1 hour's balance, or have multiple codes, multiple hours balances broken out. Can absolutely do so within payroll for construction here. Doesn't matter if we have our employees getting a bank number of hours at the beginning of the year or based on their employee anniversary date with us, or if we're accruing, hey, every 40 hours worked, we're getting an hour paid time off. Doesn't matter how that PTO needs to be calculated or handed out to the employees. We'll have that plan set up inside the system here. You can also have plans set up to give employees that are more senior employees with us, so larger hours balances, a larger accrual rate. These hours balances can be timestamped on the employee's pay stubs for them to review. Can also see their own PTO balances inside the HR portal, as well as in eAccess, that online pay stub portal. So do have the ability to offer accrual tracking inside the system. And also too, going to have reoccurring time cards. So any set office salaried staff here can have those reoccurring office salary time cards set up to be brought in whenever payroll frequency we may need there. Or also too, maybe we have a monthly set reimbursement, a monthly cell phone allowance, monthly fuel reimbursement, whatever reoccurring time card we may need, can have this set up, then brought into those payroll runs, whatever frequency. So we're not rekeying this information in monthly there to have those reimbursements paid out. All right, we'll jump out of the employee record here. So then payroll maintenance has been completed inside of payroll for construction. The next portion here is that job cost maintenance. So inside job costing, we have the ability here to set up any cost codes, task codes, those lists of those job tasks that the employees may be working against on the project there. So we'll get loaded with all the classifications for what we're working under the union, electrician, labor, apprentice, but also too for that more detailed job costing information. You can then have that list of cost codes, task codes set up inside the system. Then on the time card screen, can have those cost codes referenced on an employee's line item. Then have job cost reports available for us to run to see where we stand against a specific item inside that payroll system. And as well as too, you could even build your payroll job budgets onto the job record directly inside payroll for construction. As those cost codes have hours information being recorded against them, you can access our job cost reports to see where we stand on each portions of those cost codes on the project there. If anyone in the audience too says, hey, that's not something that we really utilize here, you don't have to utilize the cost code portion. Could have just a generic labor cost code be defaulted in as well here. But I'll jump into next the job record here. So to be able to record hours inside payroll for construction here, as well as utilize that QuickBooks integration tool. Your job name and numbers would need to be set up inside payroll for construction, how they appear inside of your QuickBooks accounting system here. It can be the same for those desktops and online versions for that QuickBooks system with that job name and number. Again, just wanted to match how it appears inside that system. Doesn't matter if our names and numbers are a combination of letters, numbers, dashes, underscores. It does not matter. Be able to have that handled with whatever length that job name and number is. Just put in that job number and description here. You can manually come in and set up a new job inside the system, or we do have the ability to import a list of jobs here from sort of Excel CSV file there. If I have any clients here that are more heavy on the service side in the audience here today. And as well as then too, you're going to see there's a large number of fields to track information here inside that job record. Again, we're powered behind an accounting system behind the scenes. So other than the number and description, that also boils down to, hey, we're multi-state here. So we need to control where the taxing jurisdiction is, along with those pay rates for our job here. So if this job is taking place in another state here, we'll get that system loaded with whatever taxing tables you or your client may need here. I have a number of Maryland local taxes here, Ohio. We'll get these loaded with whatever taxing tables that we need here for our work. Hey, this job's taking place in New York. I simply select my New York taxing table. We'll then reference this control and let us override that taxing jurisdiction for this specific job's contract here. Tie in the payroll tax group here. You're good to go. As hours are recorded against, we'll be able to report to the corresponding taxing jurisdiction. Then the last thing on that main tab for the job record, hey, does this job need a certified payroll report? Turn that checkbox on, opens us up to any one of our certified payroll electronic and certified payroll print formats here. And as well as too, if I were to set up a new job record here today, save that job, run a week's worth of payroll through the system, come back in and then realize, hey, my certified payroll report isn't being generated because I missed turning this checkbox on. That's not a problem. You can come back into the job record at any point in time, turn that checkbox on. System will then retroactively look at your previous payroll runs and still be able to generate that certified payroll report for us there. So system is set up to be very forgiving. As we know, construction payroll can get messy, a lot of moving parts at time. Will be one spot that will update, then updates the rest of our system. Then the only other portion on the job record here, that certified payroll tab. If you don't have prevailing wage work, we can have this tab be switched to union, but to override and control the pay rates on that job record here. Those tables that we had shown earlier that our team can set up and manage. This is a union job, this is a prevailing wage job. I come into my override rate table, I select the corresponding union pay rate and the corresponding union benefit information. I click OK to save. This job is now going to be a union job inside my system. We'll bring in the union pay rate, track all the union benefit information. Going to also be the same then for my prevailing wage information. Prevailing wage job, select the corresponding prevailing wage table. Select the corresponding prevailing wage fringe table. Click OK to save. On the job record, then allows me to override the pay rates. And again, to also override our corresponding payroll taxing jurisdiction if we are a multi-state contractor here. I click OK to save, then can start recording hours against my job directly inside Payroll for Construction here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close out here. Before I jump into a time card here, we're going to go ahead and launch our second polling question here for those in the audience. So we'll go ahead and launch now. Again, for those CPE credits, please go ahead and answer the polling question here. Question number 2, where can you override / control rates in taxing jurisdictions in Payroll for Construction? Is it going to be the job record? Is it going to be the cost code? Or you cannot do this in Payroll for Construction? All right. So again, for those credits, please go ahead and answer the second polling question here. Where can you override / control rates and taxing jurisdictions in Payroll for Construction? Is this going to be the job record, the cost code, or you cannot do this in Payroll for Construction? All right, looks like we got all answers here, and we'll go ahead and close this one out. The answer was the job record. Again, we have the payroll taxing group box that we can override that payroll tax group, as well as then too, the tab on the job record to then override those pay rates, to then override and control those taxing jurisdictions and pay rates directly on the job record in payroll for construction. Right, so next then we'll jump into bringing hours into the system again. So with that, the hour screen, you go over to enter time cards, have a time card format selection where we can build custom time card formats based on how you want this to be laid out inside your system, or also have default time card formats available. You go into that time card system, you can manually enter one, or for those in the audience here today, I'll show you the importing of those hours into the system. You select the time card import format, you click OK. Instead of manually keying in the hours here, I can come up, click import. I can then select where a file was saved on my computer. Then based on the one-time import sequence layout inside the payroll system, I can go ahead and click finish. System would let me know if there were any errors. My hours get brought into my payroll database here. Then you'll notice my pay rate, my taxing tables, my union prevailing wage table portion here is going to be grayed out. As once I click OK, system is then going to look at the corresponding job record, pull in the corresponding table, no tables here, bringing in that set $15 an hour for Rick here. Then have him working on prevailing wage projects under two different classifications, have 3 different pay rates all in one time card in this week for Rick and for Greg here. Then also pulling in the corresponding taxing tables based on what job these employees were working under here and where that corresponding taxing jurisdiction needs to be reported to. Unlimited number of jobs, rates, states, all on one time card for our employees here in this week here. Then once these hours are saved, again, I'm going to have the proofing report, pre-check registers for us to go ahead and review where our hours and calculations stand. Come into the time card list proofing report. If I simply just run this report as is, going to go ahead and give me my employee hours here with the corresponding jobs and our overall employee subtotals here in this week. Also, too, anything that's highlighted in blue allows me to drill down to see where exact those hours came from, can make any updates on the time card, click OK to save if I need to make any updates here, or as well as too, you'll notice that this report and our other reports inside Payroll for Construction are going to greet you with a criteria tab that allows you to control how you need this report to be formatted. If I don't want to see this broken out on an employee by employee basis, I can switch this to be broken out on a job by job basis. I don't care about my employee subtotals. I want to see my job subtotals. Rerun this list. I now have the same information being broken out on a job by job basis, giving me my overall job hours subtotals here. Then based on how these report formats are set up, we can set up and save defaults on a user by user basis. So if you have your own login, you want to see it broken out by job, your client or another member of the team there wants to see it broken out on an employee by employee basis, you can set up and save report formats, those defaults on that user by user basis. Going to be the same as well for security settings and system access inside your payroll system here. Then as well as to number of pre-check registers, calculators to see where the calculations stand before we touch for processing. Big one here going to be the pre-check register. Run this report and show us all of our employees who are set to receive a paycheck, how they are going to be paid, overall hours, earnings, benefits, deductions, show us our overall net pay before we come over and submit payroll for processing. I'll close out here, then payroll looks good to go. You click submit right inside your database, send a copy to the team for payroll processing. Then all your reports are available to you at any point in time here. Come into my payroll reports section. First one I'll jump into, workers' compensation here. Put in the date range that we need. And right now, if I run this, it's going to get a high-level class breakout. Have my operators, electricians, laborers, office staff with overall hours worked, gross earnings, and then what was actually exposed based on that workers' compensation setup. But hey, maybe I need a little bit more detail than this here. Come back to that criteria tab, go down into a trade by trade basis, an employee by earn code basis. rerun this report. Now have all my classes broken out with my employees and their earn codes. Arthur here, 2 hours of overtime, $63 is the gross earnings, only 42 was exposed based on that workers' compensation setup. Then if I tab over, give me my overall subtotals here. Then all of our reports here as well, PDF, Word, Excel, CSV. Click a button, save it to your desktop, send it off to a user that may not have access to the system here. Right, then also EEO, minority compliance reporting, print and electronic formats available. Come in, select the format that you need. Scroll through, show us some of the quick examples here. And hey, that US Department of Labor format here, select the format you need, put in your date range that you need, run that report. We'll generate that monthly employment utilization report directly inside your system. No manual entry of this information here. All being pulled from your Payroll for Construction database. And also too, certified payroll electronic and print formats. If I come to electronic, select my report format that I need, scroll through real quick, show us some of our examples we offer here. State of Maryland has their own, Texas, or we say, hey, I need the LCP tracker, click OK. Same thing, you put in the date range that you need that certified report to be ran for, then control where you want this to be saved on your desktop. We're creating the XLS file that's going to be uploaded to LCP tracker. Once I run this, it looks like a jumbled mess of information for my project. That's because once I click close, file's not been created, create file now, click yes, save it to our desktop, log into LCP tracker, can upload our electronic certified information that was created by Payroll for Construction. Jump out of this report here. Next one, certified payroll print. Again, same thing, put in the date range that you need. We can control how you need this report to be formatted, the breakdown, miscellaneous deductions, include fringing information, can bring in garnishment calculations as well. Select the format that you need. Over 40 different formats available for those certified payroll reports here. Again, something gets changed, our team will update it, timestamp that change inside the system. And I'll go down here, I'll just show that generic WH347, that US Department of Labor, run that report. Then also can tab over, we'll also generate that signature page for our certified reports here, PDF them, pull them out, send them off where they need to go. All right, then also our union report here. So my union contractors in the audience here today, same thing, put in the month's date range you need your union report to be ran for. Run my report, will show me all my employees and their corresponding trades that had hours and earnings benefits under that specific union here. Once I tab over, give me my overall subtotals of where we stand with those earnings, deductions, fringes, overall subtotal of what we need to cut the check for. And again, does not matter however many unions we're working with, we'll be able to have these set up, tracked, calculated inside of Payroll for Construction here. Close out of this one. Then the last big report I'll show here, our burden employee summary report. So again, with payroll, once burden comes into play, our employees are going to be more so $25, $26 an hour if they're $15 an hour for their base private commercial rate. Our burden employee summary report will bring in all the hours earnings, but also include all of our burden calculations to give us our true average hourly rate down to the penny of what our employees are hitting us for on these payroll runs here. All right, we'll close out of this report here. Then we are coming up to the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and launch our last polling question here for question 3. Again, those in the audience, please go ahead and answer this question for those CPE credits. Payroll for Construction can provide your client with which of the following reports here? Certified payroll, union reports, job cost reports, none of these reports, or is it going to be D, all of these reports here? All right, perfect. Everyone was on the A game there. So the answer was correct. D, all of these reports here, certified payroll, union job cost reports, all available to you, included as a Payroll for Construction client here. So with that, I'll go ahead now and open it up to questions for those in the audience here. I'll also bring up my contact information here. Anyone does have additional questions regarding the payroll service, feel free to throw those in the chat, or feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call here. Our team's happy to be a resource if you have any generic questions, or you did want to set up time for one-on-one overview with yourself, with your clients of our payroll services here. Happy to be of need. Then it looks like we only have one question in the audience here today. Layoff checks. Can I cut a layoff check for my union clients in a payroll run here? Yes. So with payroll for construction, you'll have an off-cycle pay period, any one-time check, off-cycle check information. You can go ahead, enter that information into the off-cycle pay period that would be set up by our team. You can go ahead then cut that check directly outside the database, hand that to the employee to get paid. Next time we process that full payroll run, we'll be able to see any one-time check information, get that up to date on our end as the payroll provider here. So do not have an issue with any layoff checks here. All right, then also too, yes, we will also have multiple check stub formats from you to choose from to how you'd want those stubs to be laid out for the employees in the team there, as well as too, we could provide electronic pay stub access to the HR system, or as well as E&E access there. But with that, doesn't look like there's any other questions here today. So again, I want to thank everyone for taking the time today to join today's webinar presentation. Our team will be in contact for those with the CPE credits following the presentation here today, but as well as too, if there's ever anything else we can do to help here at Foundation Payroll for Construction, please don't hesitate to reach out. But I, again, appreciate everyone's time. Hope everyone has a great rest of their afternoon here today.